Oh, quiet in here. Not at all like the Airy Bear. Milady, they're an Odrin in our ranks. Man calling himself that ran up quite the tab last night, then disappeared with nary a trace.
A peasant cart, loaded with a heap of hay, came rattling down the road from the opposite direction.
Clear the road!
Bellowed Count Caldwell, standing in his stirrups.
Make way for your queen!
The peasants obediently turned their cart into the roadside nettles. As she passed, Meve glanced towards it and froze. Atop the hay bale lay a badly wounded man gripped by fever. The thick, sweet stench of rot wafted from his bandaged legs.
Gods. Who did this to him?
Meve asked.
Bandits?
Nay, milady,
Replied the cartman.
'twere a beast. Out to the east, down Wetterton way, lies a boneyard, old as the elves, they say.
The peasant continued.
Clayton was setting snares round about there. Came running back to us, drenched in blood, rattling on about a long-haired wench come climbing out a grave. Was taking him to the good sisters of Melitele here on Bridge. Perhaps they can help him.
I'm certain they can. And will.
Replied the queen. Though just looking at the wounded wretch, she knew he'd expire before nightfall.
God speed you on your journey.
The queen whistled, and her mare resumed its trot.
Shall I send for a witcher, your grace?
Caldwell asked.
One of those freaks should make short work of the monster.
Until we apprehend the bandits, I shan't allow a single soul to leave our company. Even on such an important mission as finding a witcher.
Meve replied.
Any who did would be captured at once. But, if fate brings us near Wetterton, perhaps we'll see to this monstrous harridan ourselves.
Your grace, we've only just fought beasts and scarcely escaped with our lives. This she-beast will take a silver sword. Magic formulae.
Yet a dozen arbalists will have to suffice.
The queen said, calmly but firmly.
And please, Caldwell, do stiffen your spine a bit. Now onward.
Off to Wetterton, are ye? Bonny tune, that. Just the folk can be on shite. Off to Wetterton, are ye? Bonny tune, that. Just the folk can be on shite.
As they neared Wetterton, the queen ordered her company to halt. She then sent men to the town for supplies. Those sent returned more quickly than she'd assumed they would, their satchels empty, their mounts foaming at the mouth.
Your Majesty, the townsfolk have gone right mad. Herded all the elves and dwarfs at Market Square. 'Tis a slaughter.
The queen knew well that if she failed to intervene, the town's streets would flow with non-human blood. Just as she knew her meager force might not subdue an enraged crowd.
What is your command, your grace?
Reynard's question pierced the silence.
What can it be, dear friend?
Answered the queen, then spurred her mount and rode off towards the town. Her troops followed, running as fast as their legs would carry them. When they passed inside the town gate, they saw corpses lining the gutters. Meve realized she had arrived too late to prevent a tragedy. The crowd was drunk on blood. Its rage would need to be quelled with an iron fist.
Step away, or see your heads bounce down the cobblestones!
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
So much hatred. We must put a stop to it. Reynard, who started this? I must know.
Discipline shall bring us. Strike the largest clusters. Disperse the mob. Happily, Niamh restored order without suffering any losses. Reynard then learned that a nobleman's ire had triggered the violence, ire at having discovered a theft.
Suspicion fell on the non-humans he employed. He accused them, they protested, and the row soon engulfed the town. But there's something else, Your Grace.
Reynard gestured towards an aged man who stood grieving, his face in his hands.
I've witnesses who claim the strays of Sparla are the thieves.
Though the tragedy seemed the result of a misunderstanding, justice would have to be served. Those responsible for the slaughter would need to be punished. The question was, how severely?
You are guilty. That can't be denied.
Said the Queen, turning towards the bloody rioting's instigators.
A false rumour you took, and turned into a cruel lynch. Thus punishment is your lot. A public lashing, fines, imprisonment. But you shall keep your lives, for enough blood has been spilt here this day.
Wetterton's inhabitants breathed a sigh of relief. But the non-human survivors took offense at the lenient sentence. Soon after, the Lyrian army's elves and dwarves quietly disappeared, deserted. Few doubted the reason. They would not risk their necks for a queen who held their lives in such low regard.
They should have stayed put beneath their mount. We'd not have had no problem then. They should have stayed put beneath their mount. We'd not have had no problem then.
The Lyrians entered the graveyard. Crickets chirped in its tall, windswept grass, and lush green moss covered its crumbling gravestones. Only a fresh bloodstain upon a mausoleum wall suggested that something disturbed the dead in their rest and hunted the living.
Save your tears, throw off your grief.
An eerie voice sang, its ghastly lament standing Maeve's hair on end.
Soon your life too shall cease as you pass into the eternal glow.
A pockmarked, pustule-ridden creature crawled out from behind some gravestones. It vaguely resembled a shriveled, hunchbacked hag, until its head split into two halves, forming a tooth-spiked maw.
Attack! Everyone!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me. There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
What was that filth?
The Queen croaked hoarsely as the dying monster writhed in agony at her feet.
I know not, your grace,
replied Reynard.
but to be safe, I would have the corpse chopped up and burned. Elsewise, we will not be certain it shall not return.
Yes, have it done.
Maeve said, brushing her hair from her beaded brow.
But quickly, lest dusk catch us in this foul place.
The Lyrians soon resumed their march. As they left the cemetery behind them, some believed they still heard the haunting dirge upon the air. Or was it just the wind, whistling past mossy tombstones?
Some bandits on thy road round on, those that call themselves the Strays. Beware, some bandits on thy road round up. Beware, some bandits on thy road round on, those that call themselves the Strays.
Kneel and pay homage to the gods. Kneel and pay... Kneel and pay homage to the gods. You shall be rewarded. Melitele watches over us all, yet you do well to remind her through supplication. There is ever time for prayer, even as war rages all around. Pleased to see ye yearn for the holy word, milady. I'll keep ye in my prayers to the Mother Goddess.
Travelling the high road, they heard the bells of a temple to Mother Melitele, situated at some distance. Niamh turned towards Reynard.
What have we today? A sacred feast?
Not that I recall, Your Grace.
The Queen's brow darkened, her hands clenched into fists on her reins.
Then they sound the alarm. Follow me!
Stained glass shards glinted in the grass. Bits of down, ripped from quilts, wafted through the air. The priestesses, gathered in the yard, were seeing to wounded pilgrims, setting toppled, oft beheaded or armless statues back on their feet.
What happened here?
The strays of Spala fell upon us.
Sighed the prioress.
Stole the offerings, the monstrances, holy books. My lady, I implore you, come to our aid, recover what's rightly ours.
Ever clever, Niamh's scouts soon discovered the bandits' tracks. They led to some thick hazel groves east of the temple. The perfect place to hide, or to lie in ambush.
It's all come clear now. Sabotage. 'Twas the bandits who weakened the walls.
The good mother warned us. Hard times lie ahead. The good mother warned us. Hard times lie ahead.
Wheel ruts. The strays, no doubt. They must be nearby.
To ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they? To ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they? To ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they?
The bandits had pitched camp in a nearby wood. Spirits buoyed by the wine they'd stolen from the cloister cellar, the brigands had not posted sentries.
Another round! To the sisters!
Niamh's soldiers were eager, insistent. The desecrators would be punished. Yet only the Queen could order the assault.
High time we put these strays on a leash.
Spat the Queen, spurring her horse.
To arms! Follow me!
Tankards clattered to the ground as the strays reached for their weapons. brigands would not even fathom giving up without a fight.
Surround them!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Got a death wish?
Left, right, left, right.
The Queen's company defeated the bandits and recovered the loot. Silver chalices, reliquaries lined with mother-of-pearl, gold-embroidered robes.
The priestesses would be grateful to have their treasures returned, Your Grace. They would pray ardently for your victory.
Reynard opined.
Yet, you could also keep the silver, expend it on the war effort. And who's to say which, prayer or coin, would be more useful?
Hard times the realm now endures.
The Queen said, after a pause.
Yet this can't justify a lapse in principles. No. We must defend them all the more.
Meve ordered everything returned to the priestesses. All of it, down to the last gulden. Moved by the Queen's gesture, some of the novitiates joined Meve's ranks, aiming to bring succor to any Lyrian wounded in battle. Queen and company rode off, with no gold to show for their toil, but most certainly richer in spirit.
Sure, you can bind a rabid dog, tie his forelegs together, but you'll not stop him from lashing out and biting. Aroo! You've bested us, aye, but you'll not find the Duke of Dogs near as easy prey. Oh, no!
Melitele will not forget your sacrifice, nor will her faithful servants. Melitele will not forget your sacrifice, nor will her faithful servants. Your Majesty, turn... Your Majesty, turn back! There, something wicked lurks.
The dead, as they rest, are disturbed. Something digs up their graves, opens their tombs.
Your Majesty, you return! Our prayers have been answered!
May the Mother Goddess watch over you.
Your Majesty, you return! Our prayers have been answered!
off to the nuptials, ma'am. Or to cross this bridge here. Then ride on straight as piss. An arrow. I'm bringing honey for the groom and his lovely bride. May their new life prove at least as sweet.
The Queen rides hither. The Queen. She'll smite the bandits. Save us, one and all. The Queen rides hither. The Queen. She'll smite the bandits. Save us, one and all.
Maeve's ear suddenly caught brisk music and voices raised in song. She had no doubt. A wedding ceremony had just begun in a hamlet just off the high road. When the bride's father spotted the royal retinue, he rushed up to beg the Queen to bless the newlyweds. Maeve obliged cordially. Encouraged, the father boldly invited Maeve and her court to join in the festivities.
You'd do us a right honour, my lady. And your men would bolster their strength afore to march ahead. We beg ye, eat, drink and rejoice with us.
I haven't slippers to dance in, but I trust I'll manage somehow. Lead on, good man.
The nuptials took place in the shade of a vast oak tree. Then the newlyweds and their guests walked in procession to a barn adorned with flowers. An uproarious celebration ensued. As she watched her soldiers dance shoulder to shoulder with peasants, Maeve felt a surge of pride at being their queen. The heart of Lyria. It beat most powerfully here, not in the gilded halls of palaces. Suddenly a cry went up as strange armed men rushed into the yard.
There's the lass! Grab her!
Before anyone could stop them, the bandits took the bride and fled into the woods.
We'll not leave you wanting, good man.
shouted the queen, slipping her feet into her stirrups.
Follow me! Here!
The earth trembled beneath the weight of horse and hoof. Tankards laid out for a midnight toast to the bride and groom clinked prematurely in the quake, and the Lyrians charged forth into the dark wood. Though the Lyrian cavalrymen had imbibed spirits throughout the night, they not only managed to stay upright in their saddles, but even gained on the bandits and cut off any chance of escape.
Stop them!
Neve's troops defeated the bandits and rescued the bride, only to be surprised. For the maiden fair dropped to her knees and burst into tears of sorrow, not joy.
Weep not, child.
The queen said, placing her arm upon her shoulder.
It's over. You're free.
Nay, not so, your majesty. My lady, I've no love for Jan. No wish to wed him. It's my father. My family forced me. My heart's fimbers. He arranged the masquerade. I beg ye, if you've 1 ounce of kindness, if you've a heart, let us leave this place together and free.
Oh, I've a heart.
Answered the queen.
Yet I've also a head with which to reason. Your beloved spilled blood this day. A grave crime. He shall answer for it. While you, my dear, must go home.
Upon spotting the queen returning with the bride, the revelers ran out to meet them. Not wishing to rile the crowd, Meve revealed the truth of the matter solely to the newlyweds' families. They, in turn, annulled the freshly made union and, in gratitude for her aid, gave the queen all the gifts the guests had brought.
Oh, poor Jan. Pity the lad. True, he's no looker, but he's got an heart of gold. Told you she were an harlot. Told you she'd mean trouble.
Oh, to be young again. Heart bursting with love.
Good folk, the Queen's returned. Welcome her we must. Tribute in hand. Ah, our Queen. Why, pretty as a painting she is. Ups, ups, merry little plant. Weddings without ye, revel we shan't.
You spy that column of smoke? Gods damn it! Make haste!
As the Clayton estate appeared from behind a tree line, the Queen and all in her retinue knew at once they had arrived too late. A veritable swarm of bandits milled about the yard.
Who have we here? I'll take a gander, lads. The Queen herself has deigned to come and see us.
See you, then kill you.
The strays of Sparla? 'Tis you who lead them. 'Tis you they call the Duke of Dogs.
Aye, 'tis I they dub so. And in other pleasant ways. Prince of Pariahs, Thane of Thieves, Baron of Brigands, and Marquess of Mendacity.
Colourful titles all, yet you omit one. Common cutthroat!
I beg your pardon and cry foul! I am anything but common!
You needn't get excited, Caldwell. Where is Lord Clayton?
Sadly, my lord's no longer with us. Turned us away, you see. Denied us hospitality. A sacred right, after all. Angered the gods mightily, I expect, as he promptly met a tragic end. Fell in the well and broke his neck.
I've heard enough. To arms! Attack!
Lads, what say we throw this queen a ball?
Ow!
Aye.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
I smell it.
Stand back! 'Tis some alchemical concoction! You mad? Don't shake that!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Well, well. My congratulations.
Go, pop, pop!
Our ballista, your command.
We got a job to do.
Armor won't stay.
Shh! Cork it!
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Yeah, yeah!
If you insist.
Bravo, Your Grace. Well played.
I can't say the same for you, I fear. You'd have done better to die in battle. Bound for Lyria now, where the hangman will have his way with you.
Splendid! I've ever wished to see the capital.
Quite certain of yourself, you seem.
Many afore you have braided nooses for me, Your Grace. Yet as you see, my neck's straight as a pike.
My threats are never hollow. And if it's an escape you wear,